Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Start with paying obeisances to the deities. Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai. Nitai Chaitanya ki jai. Parshuram Bhagavan ki jai. Vaman Dev ki jai. Nitai Chaitanya ki Guru Giri Govardhan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pucharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are in the chapter number 11, the universal form. And today's verse is 11.47. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Maya Prasannena Tavarjunedam Rupam Param Darshitam Atma Yogat Tejomayam Vishwamanantamadhyam Yanme Tvadanyena Drishta Purvam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence." So Lord Shri Krishna is saying, I have happily shown you the universal form. So that means now the universal form is coming towards the conclusion. In the previous verse, Arjuna has requested Lord Krishna to show his four-handed form. He has requested him to retract his universal form. So that's what Lord Krishna is about to retract his universal form and show his four-handed form. And just like in the previous verse, he asked that I wanted to see that four-handed form with the Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. So kindly, retract your universal form. And we have seen till 11.45, that is the 45th verse of the chapter number 11, the description of the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been given. So this is very, very unique to our tradition, to Sanatana Dharma, right? That we have such a wonderful universal form, right? That Supreme Personality of Godhead has shown, and it has been very nicely described also. So that all our doubts are cleared, that who is God or how does he look like? These are the questions that every common man has. Who is God? How does he look like? And what is his greatness? After hearing the description of universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nobody will have a question or a doubt who is God or whether God exists or not at all, because it is so amazingly wonderful that it is not possible for any living entity to have a universal form. So for example, we see that there are some heretic philosophies which say or which claim that I am God, you are God. I have realized God, but you have not realized God. So if we have to take those heretic philosophies seriously, then we have to ask them, is it possible for you to show the universal form? You are claiming that you have become God, that you have realized. So they are saying that I have realized, therefore I have become God. Since that now you have become God, show us your universal form. Can a living entity show a universal form? So there is this difference that the Supreme Lord is unlimited, Vibhu, infinite, whereas the living entity is limited and finite. So the scope of understanding of the living entity is only the body. That is, I know what is happening within my body. You know what is happening within your body. The third person knows what is happening in his body or her body. But Krishna knows what is happening in everyone's body. Kshetrajnam cha mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetrajnayor yogam jnanam yatta jnanam matir mama. The knowledge of Kshetrajna, that is the enjoyer, right? So this Kshetrajna, or who is the dweller within the body, there is the soul. There is one Kshetrajna, that is the living entity. There is another Kshetrajna, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if every living entity, let us say for some time, we will accept that heretic philosophy that every living entity is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If that is the case, then how is it possible that the Supreme Lord can bring a jurisdiction among all these living entities? So because everybody is a God, so everybody is Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is just like playing a chess match with all queens. Now everybody is a queen. Then what is a match there? How can you control anyone? So there's no chess there, right? It will become chaos. Everybody is God. You are God, I am God, he is God, everybody is God. Then whom to control, how to control, right? So because the living entity is not God, the living entity has got some qualitatively he is equal. There are some qualities that match with Lord. For example, the living entity is eternal, the Supreme Lord is eternal. The original nature of the living entity is spiritual, and Supreme Lord's nature is also spiritual. But quantitatively, this soul is so small that it forgets its position. The soul is quantitatively small, just like the fire and the spark. The spark is quantitatively small. Therefore, it is not as powerful as the fire. Or if you take the gold mine and if you take a gold ornament, the gold ornament is not equal to the gold mine. So the gold ornament has some qualities. Yes, it is made up of gold. So that too, it is now covered. That gold ornament has fallen into the mud for a long time and it is rusted and there is so much of corrosion. You have to first remove it, clean it nicely. Then it will say, okay, this is gold. Then you can say, I am gold. Then the ornament can say, I am gold. Until then, there is some cleaning or contamination is there which has to be cleansed. Similarly, the living entity also, yes, is a part and parcel of Krishna, no doubt. Just like this golden ornament, which has fallen into some kind of water or some dirty place, like that, we are fallen in this material world. And there is a layers of corrosion on the soul. We have to cleanse it. On our heart, there is so many layers are there, right? What are these layers are? The different layers of Yogamaya, which are stopping us from understanding Krishna or to know our position. First of all, to know who I am, first position. Next, to understand who is God. First, I have to understand who I am, what is my nature. Then I have to understand who is God. Then that relationship is revived. Right? Then I am eternally established in the relationship with the Supreme Personality. Got it? So this is very important. Aham Brahmasmi. No, everybody can say Aham Brahmasmi. Even a parrot also can say Aham Brahmasmi. But the parrot, so the parrot saying Aham Brahmasmi is not significant. Correct? So we can train anybody to just simply say with lips Aham Brahmasmi. Finished. So this kind of Aham Brahmasmi is not useful. So yes, I am Brahman. Means I am part and parcel of Parabrahman. So I'm a part and parcel of Parabrahman. That means I'm part and parcel of God. So I have a similar nature. So let me serve God. So I must act like Brahman to say that I am Brahman. It's not simply enough to say I am Brahman. So anybody can say I am Brahman. Even a completely materially conditioned soul also, or somebody in the jail, a convict, simply to show that he's a very saintly person, can simply say, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. So will we release him from the jail and make him the saint? We don't make him, right? So just simply saying that Aham Brahmasmi is not enough. We have to act like Brahman. Acting like Brahman means it's like this, that when we go to the office, there is a title that we get. So and so, they say the general manager, right? They say that here is an expert subject matter expert. So some or any title is there. So if I'm just simply saying, I every day go to the office, I sit down in my cabin, and if somebody asks me, who are you? I'll say, my name is so and so. I am the general manager here. Nice meeting you. And I shake hand and sit down. And I'm every day just sitting on the chair, rocking. That's it. So then they'll kick me out. Correct? So I have to act like a general manager. It is not enough to simply take the title of general manager. But on the other hand, if somebody does not even have, let us say he doesn't have the title of the general manager at the moment, but he's already acting like one, because maybe there is another person who has left the job. So the junior person is currently playing that role. He's not really there, but he's playing that role. So that person is actually the general manager, because everybody is respecting him and he's actually doing that activity. Similarly, right now, all the living entities are conditioned. The conditioned living entity, simply by saying Aham Brahmasmi, is not enough. It's just like that general manager simply saying, coming to the office and just simply lying, I am the general manager. It's not enough. You have to act like the general manager. You have to act like Brahman. So there is an action that is required to prove that we are Brahman. So that is Krishna consciousness. To serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? To act spiritually, that is Brahman. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, Charamarana mokshaya mam ashrayanti te brahma vidur kritsnam. Krishna is saying, actually, there are some living entities, very rare souls, who take refuge in me for countering this cycle of old age and death. Chara marana mokshaya mam ashrayanti upayanti te. When some people are taking shelter of Krishna for a serious purpose. That serious purpose is to get liberated from old age and death. So this is a repeated problem. This is the actual problem. So this problem they want to solve. That's why they are taking shelter of me. Actually, they are Brahman. Krishna is saying they are Brahman. So this is Krishna's definition of Brahman. And our definition of Brahman has become so cheap, that, even, like I said, somebody in the jail or a prisoner or a criminal-minded fellow or a conditioned soul, a completely non-spiritual materialist also simply says, I am Brahman. That's finished. So this is the condition of the Kali Yuga. So in this verse, Lord Sri Krishna, what is he saying? He's saying that, my dear Arjuna, happily, I have shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. So here the thing is, there's so many things to pick up from here, because each and every word is important in Bhagavad Gita. Not only word, each and every syllable is also important. So there is no possibility that something has been inserted or something has been deleted, right? Everything is significant. You can't add something, you can't delete something from Bhagavad Gita. Everything is important. It says, Maya prasannena tavarjunedam. That means I have happily, Maya prasannena, happily, and you have made me very happy. I am happy towards you. Krishna is saying, I am very pleased by you. So that means Arjuna has pleased Krishna very much. And in that pleasure, I have shown you my transcendental form. So to see the transcendental form of the Lord, we have to please God. So it is not possible that I can demand him. So I shall not become like Arjuna. I mean, Arjuna has got certain qualification. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. Bhaktosi means the devotee of Krishna. Sakha, friendly towards Krishna. And Anasuya way, that is, he is non-envious of Krishna. So there is a random person who comes, who is not having the qualification of Arjuna, envious of God, not friendly towards God, not a devotee of God, and challenging, show me God. So God will not show himself to him. So the qualification is there. So God says that he will show himself not to kuyoginaha, not to those people who are not perfect in their devotional service, not for them. This form is only for those people who are perfected the devotional service, like Arjuna, who have got that mood of service. That is the most important thing. And another point that has been said here is that it is param. Param means there is nothing beyond this. So this is very, very wonderful transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is showing it by Atma Yogat. Atma Yogat means internal potency. So Krishna has got internal potency and external potency. By his external potency, he has created the material world. So whatever we are able to see in the material world is made possible by his external potency. But when Lord shows his universal form, that is his internal potency. When the Supreme Lord descends into the material world, his internal potency comes into action. So it is like the personal energy of the Supreme Lord. So that's different energy. That's called Yoga Maya. So Lord descends, when he comes here, when he does activities, he does it with the help of Yoga Maya. But when the material world is functioning, and whatever we are in, that is Mahamaya. So that is the external energy. We are trapped in the external energy. So God doesn't take help of the external energy, but his internal energy, Atma Yoga. And he's saying, Tejomayam Vishwam Anantam Adyam Janme Tvad Anyena Nadrushta Purvam. It is Tejomayam, full of effulgence. Vishwam Anantam, the entire universe is there in this form. And it is Ananta, means unlimited. Adyam means original. And he's saying, very important point here, Yanme Tvad Anyena Nadrushta Purvam. Before you, no one has ever seen this form. Actually, this form was shown to Duryodhana, universal form was shown, but it was not the same form. When Lord Krishna went to negotiate as a peace ambassador, Krishna goes to Kauravas to negotiate for peace. So at that time also, Duryodhana tries to arrest Krishna. At that time, he shows his universal form. He just laughs and says, are you going to arrest me? So are you going to arrest me? Okay, arrest me. Is it possible to arrest the universal form? Who can arrest the universal form? Who can arrest God? So then he shows the universal form, everybody becomes unconscious. So even that form is not same as the form that has been shown here. So this is the topmost and the best universal form. The complete universal form has been shown to Arjuna. Right? So that is the wonderful thing about this one. And Arjuna was shown this form. And he accepted the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he changed his mind. He said, Karishye vachanam tava. I shall follow whatever you are saying. And he has nicely glorified the Supreme Lord. But if you see, Duryodhana has seen the universal form. He became unconscious, but he did not change his mind. Just like the dog's tail. You see, the dog's tail is bent. It's like if you make it straight, tring, again it will come back. Right? Make it straight, again, tring. So it's like the dog's tail. That is Duryodhana. Right? So it cannot be mended. But Arjuna is not like that. Arjuna was in temporary illusion. He is an eternal associate. So our mind should be that of Arjuna, not that of Duryodhana. That we have produced. So as long as we are envious like Duryodhana, even if God shows himself, there is no use. That is the point. That is why God doesn't show himself. There is no point. Okay, somebody is asking, okay, show me God, then I shall worship God. The God shows himself to you will not change. What is the use? So if you will change, God will anyway show himself to you. So there is no change in this person. So then why should God show himself? He is not a servant of this, anybody's servant. He is not an order carrier servant that I want to see God, show me. Then he'll come and show you. That's not possible. So here, Srila Prabhupada in his commentary is writing, in other words, all the disciplic devotees of the Lord could see the universal form which was shown to Arjuna by the mercy of Krishna. So that means we have not seen personally with our eyes, but we have heard so many days about the universal form. So we are very, very fortunate because we are hearing in the disciplic succession. We are in the disciplic succession of Arjuna. So some people ask, is Arjuna a spiritual master? Definitely. Why not? Of course, Arjuna is a spiritual master. So then did he give initiation? Not necessary. He did not give initiation, but that doesn't mean that he is not a spiritual master. So just like, see this, Krishna gave this Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And it was recorded by the contemporary of Arjuna, Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva recorded the conversation that happened between Krishna and Arjuna. So Krishna is the original spiritual master. And because Arjuna heard it, Arjuna is also the spiritual master. He is also capable of giving instructions. And because Vyasadeva has recorded it, he has witnessed it, he is also the spiritual master. And we are coming in the disciplic succession of Vyasa. That is the important point. Vyasadeva to Lord, Vyasadeva has given these instructions to Narada. Right? Narada has given instructions to, Vyasadeva has given these instructions to Madhvacharya. Vyasadeva has given instructions to Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya has given his instructions in his line. So we are in the line of Madhvacharya. And it is coming down, right, to Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And then we have all the other great gurus in the disciplic succession. So this is an unbroken chain. So this knowledge is being passed on. So we are hearing in the disciplic succession. We are not just simply buying a book and reading it. There's a lot of difference between hearing in the disciplic succession and reading commentaries. We see there are so many unauthorized people. They're writing books like My Gita. I don't know if you saw that on the market. My Gita. So how is it your Gita? Cannot be your Gita. It is Bhagavad Gita. So it is their interpretation. So they are coming up with some wild imaginations, wild fiction, completely opposing the scriptures. So we will be completely astray. Nor can serials be the source of truth. We are coming up with so many serials these days. So where we see some weird combination of events that are being displayed. And actually some people are taking it so seriously. So the funny part is, they're thinking that that serial is as authentic as Srimad Bhagavatam. They're thinking like Bhagavatam speakers. That is the funniest part. So there's some weird combination of events they're showing in these serials. So in the name of entertainment, so they just take these characters, whatever they see in the story, and they make some combinations. Let's just like some kind of a television soap they have made it. So some real stories they have demonstrated, some of them completely artificial, completely out of context. And people are taking it very seriously, right? So the correct way to hear is through the disciplic succession. So when we hear from the disciplic succession, we are actually seeing, therefore, Prabhupada is saying all the disciplic devotees of the Lord also can see the universal form, which was shown to Arjuna by the mercy of Krishna. This form has never been shown before, nor will it be shown in the future. We are hearing and we are seeing it. We have to see by hearing. How is it possible? Seeing by hearing. Right? So how is it possible? Let us say that there is somebody who goes to some exotic destination. Maybe I cannot go there due to many constraints. Maybe my health issue, or I can't go there, I don't have visa, some issues. So that person will come and describe that or show some photographs. Describe. It was like this. Then in a very, very clean description, then I imagine, then I'm almost there. I feel that as if I was there. So when I go there, I can actually identify that, yes, everything was said. Yes, this was exactly, this is that building. Yeah, this is that place that, my friend was talking about. This is called seeing by hearing. This is the authentic, authorized way of hearing through the disciplic succession, where nothing is added or nothing is subtracted. It is not allowed to be added or subtracted, because this is not a serial or entertainment. Right? This is Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanmana iti mameti sorjuna. So those people who are the people in the disciplic succession, they are like the postman. A postman, what does he do? He takes the message and he gives it as it is. You don't see that the postmaster will open it, tear it open and see it and read it first himself and say, oh, okay, this is not fine. Let me cut this. Let me add this and put it back and give it. Right? So that is not postman. That's not correct. Right? So that's not the correct way of giving it. So that's not the proper mood of transmitting the message of the Supreme. So it's like a transparent medium. Like through a transparent medium, we are hearing. So whoever is a speaker, he has to, whatever is being given has to be spoken without altering the main substance. And we should not change the realizations of the acharyas. Whatever the acharyas have said, we have to see. And some realizations, personal realization can be added as long as it is not violating the acharya's commentary. So like that, we cannot completely deviate. So just like Mahatma Gandhi in his commentary wrote that Lord Krishna is actually telling Arjuna to be non-violent, to stop the war, for example. So this kind of commentary, or like there is some like commentaries by Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, where he is saying that actually when Krishna is saying surrender to God, it is not surrendering unto him, it is surrendering to within him. So this is an artificial kind of a deviation. So here comes the problem. So if this kind of dangerous deviations are made, then comes the problem. So this is not allowed in the Vedic parampara actually. Whatever it is there, we must say. We cannot change it just because it is not suiting to the audience. We cannot change it. Or just because I don't like it, or it is not fitting my philosophy, I can't change it. It is Krishna's philosophy. If I alter it, then it becomes my Gita. It is no longer Krishna's Gita. Correct? So therefore, we have to understand this. So Lord Krishna has shown his universal form, and he saw these wonderful descriptions. And Arjuna has asked that I want to see the four-handed form. And in the today's verse, we have seen that Krishna is saying, you have seen my universal form through my internal potency. Nobody in the past has seen this, nor will anybody in the future will be able to see it. And he has shown the full opulences of God. And he also said, we also saw that even the devotees in the disciplic succession can see this by mercy of the Lord. So we are able to view it through our ears just because of Arjuna's questions. And because Arjuna has impressed the Lord. So that means we have to work in a way that Krishna is very happy with us. And then he shows us. Not that we force him to show us. Right? So nobody else has been able to see this kind of form before. Right? So in conclusion, I would like to tell you one story, a very interesting story, short story, and we'll close it now. So actually once what happened when Pandavas were in the forest, Vanvas, Aranyavas, that time, Lord Krishna with his Satyabhama Devi, he goes to visit Pandavas. So then Krishna, he was very nicely received. He paid obeisances to Yudhishthira and Bhima because they are elder socially. And then he embraced Arjuna, who is his equal age, and he gave blessings to Nakula and Sahadeva. All right. And then at that time, he gave some solace to them. And he says that I'm happy because you have been very tolerant and you have not given up my path, whatever I've given. You are sticking to that path. Therefore, I'm happy with you. At that time, Markandeya Rishi comes. We all know Markandeya Rishi is very famous. That he is a Chiranjeevi. He never dies. So he has been there and he has seen multiple annihilation and destruction cycles. Right? So he is looking very young, like a 16-year-old boy. So with a happy face, he came inside to visit Pandavas. And he's a very knowledgeable person. He actually took Shiksha from Naranarayan. Right? So Lord Sri Krishna, he says, please tell us about some kings who are worthy of glorification, like that. Right? At that time, Narada also comes. Right? And Markandeya Rishi starts his narration. When he was asked, tell about some great people you have seen in the past, because you have seen it all. You have seen all the people in the world. From the creation till now, you tell us whom you have seen. Then Markandeya Rishi started saying, actually, I will tell you what has happened is, when Lord Brahma's night comes, right, there is a partial annihilation that happens. So everything will be inundated with water. So at that time, when all the worlds were inundated with water and there was only water everywhere, I was just floating in the water and I became very tired. I swam and I swam and I swam, and I came to one place where I saw one leaf, a banyan tree's leaf, Vatapatra. He saw that. And he saw that on that was a small baby, right, with a blue color skin, right? And that small baby, he took the thumb of his feet inside his mouth and he was sucking it. So just like small children, small babies, they can reach their feet and they hold their feet and they put it inside their mouth. So like that, this small baby was doing. And I was very surprised, who is this person? And then he started speaking to me. He said, my dear Markandeya, you might have been very tired. Please come and take rest. Then I swam near him. Then he took me inside his mouth. When I went inside his mouth, I saw all the material worlds intact. Outside was water. But when I went inside, all the material worlds were there within him. So, but they were intact as it was. And he was also able to see his own ashrama. There were all the towns, cities, villages, everything was there. Right? So at that time, right, he saw everything and he was unable to find the beginning and ending of this. And he finally came out of the mouth and he again saw everywhere there was water. And then he said, he is that Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Lord Narayana, the Supreme Lord. Right? And he says to the Pandavas, when he sees Krishna, he says, here he is. This is the person whom I saw. This is the person whom I saw when the annihilation happened. And the person whom you think who is your friend, who is giving you guidance, who is doing you service, who is being your peace ambassador, he is giving you advice, is your mentor. He is that person whom I have seen at the time of annihilation. He is the only person who says, I have personally witnessed it. So the Narayana Upanishad says, and the Shruti says that after the annihilation, there is nobody. No Brahma, no Ishanaha. No Brahma, no Ishano. Means even Lord Brahma is not there. Even Lord Shiva is not there. Nobody is there after annihilation. Only the Supreme Lord is there. So he says, I have personally seen that. I am giving my personal testimony. Nobody was there in that floating waters. Only one small baby was there. That person is this Krishna. And you are so fortunate that Lord Sri Krishna is always with you people. He says like that. Right? So we have to understand how fortunate we are that we are able to associate with this original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So we also must be taking the mood of Arjuna, the mood of the Pandavas, and serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then we can also realize or witness his form by his mercy, by making him happy. So we have to make him happy. Maya Prasannena. To make him happy, we have to follow his path. We cannot create our own path and make him happy. It is like somebody comes to my home, then I will prepare bitter gourd curry and I will feed. And say, this is my favorite curry. You become happy. So how is it possible? How can the other person become happy with my favorite? This is my way, my path. No, this is not the right mood. We have to find out what is Lord's path. What is the path that he is recommending? And we have to follow his instructions. Then he will be happy. Krishna is recommending Bhakti Yoga. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mameva ischesi satyam te pratijani priyose. So we have to become the devotee, sincere devotee, real devotee. So then Lord will become happy. And he will happily even show his form also to us. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Dhanavad pranams to all of you.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, thank you very much.